Hello everybody. What you're seeing here is the speed escapements of the Zeiss Contax T-A black dial camera. So what we have here is the slow governor. You can remove this as a unit and dunk this in benzene to clean off any dirt if you want. And this is the cam for the first curtain, and this is the cam for the second curtain. Now the cam for the second curtain is made up of two cams. So this is a slow speed cam, and underneath here is the plate that's connected to the shaft of the second curtain. Well, not really the shaft, but the bevel gear shaft. And underneath that is the high speed cam. So here's what happens. Okay, so while you change the speeds, you can see all the pulse and levers change configuration, and that's how this thing controls the camera, or rather the shutter speeds. Okay, so you will want to check if all the springs are connected properly. If not, then it's not going to work properly. If this thing is not connected, then your high speeds are all going to sound the same, and that's not going to be good. Okay, so see how we go to 25. Check the slow speed cam. When setting this, when setting the slow speed cam, you only loosen one screw. Wait, make that two screws at this one and this one, because this one is connected to the slow speed governor underneath this thing. So when setting this thing, you want it to rotate unimpeded. If you get what I mean. Because if it doesn't, then you can't wind your camera, because this thing will get stuck here. So this is in the cup position. If this thing drops here, because this gap is around here, then when you do this, it's not going to allow you, because even the slightest resistance from this thing is going to prevent this from turning. Okay, now you want to, this is the perfect tension. See, you can turn it with just one finger. You want your camera to be as smooth as that. As you can see, there's some residual oil here. I will wipe my wheel lighter, because I just gave this thing a good CLA. Okay, see? Now, the slow speed governor only comes into play when the speed is lower than 1/25 of a second. See? Let's cock this again. See how it gets into that hole, so that when this thing kicks, it will charge the slow governor. See? So we're at 1/25. See how it maintains contact. Throughout the slow speeds. and when you go higher, it gets disengaged. See, because you want it to turn without any resistance. See, let's go to the fastest 1/250th of a second. It doesn't even touch it. Okay. Now let's go to the slower shutter speeds. Let's go to 1 second, the slowest. See how this thing comes into contact with this thing fully. And when I click the shutter button, the plunger, see how this thing will kick the this lever up and charge the slow governor. This is the escapement. Okay, check this out. See, now there's resistance coming from this hammer, from this lever, because there's a spring underneath this. Now when I got this thing, all the slow speeds from 25th to 1 second are all running at a very fast shutter speed by 1 stop. So 1 second would give me 2 sec would give me this half a second. So that's too fast, and 1:20 and 1:10 will give me like 1:18 of a second. Now that's almost a full stop's worth of speed. Okay, so what happened was this thing was probably stored while the spring ear is tensed, and that probably happened in the span of decades. So the spring weakened, and I have to open the slow governor apart, see the screws cross. Well, that's unintentional, but you know, it can't be helped sometimes. And yeah, I had to take this apart and retension the spring ear. It took a long time to put this back together. Probably took me like three tries, but it can't be helped because this has to be done. Okay, so check this out. Let's charge this thing again. So at 1 second, this thing is fully this will rotate in its full range. Oh, this is retracted in its full range, and then you go to 2. 1:2 of the seconds. You'll get this. Okay, so that's gonna give you slower and slower times. See what I mean? Okay, see how silent it is? Hear how silent it is, rather. Now I have the repair manual for this thing. It didn't really say much, but that's where I got the information how to set these things. Now there's a very good illustration on the internet made by Rick Olson a long time ago, and you can use that as a guide, because I cannot scan the manual for you. So what you basically want is at 1 second, when this thing is configured to 1 second, you want this thing to be fully retracted, this lever. Okay, so you have to rotate this until you know it's like this. Okay, now on 1/250th of a second, you see this high-speed pole. Now, the high-speed cam is like a snail. It looks like this. It's not a perfect circle, and then it's actually an eccentric circle, and then there's a notch over there. So this pole, as you can see, the tip of the pole should be touching the notch here on the high-speed cam. Okay, it wasn't very well illustrated in the manual, in the repair manual, but in Mr. Olson's site, it was illustrated beautifully. Okay, so I'm gonna draw something here just to show you what I mean. Okay, so this would be the slow speed cam, and then oops, you have the plate that's connected to the bevel gear of the second curtain, and then you have the high speed cam over here. Okay, am I making any sense? Oops. that's not me earwax, that's what I use to clean the mess that I just did. Okay, so which one you set first will all depend on, you know, will all depend on your mood. Okay, so that's how the Contax shutter works basically. Okay, oops, I have to show off that I can wind this with one finger. Now you want this to be as light as possible, because when you have film loaded, this is going to be a little bit heavier because of the friction from the film rubbing against the felt and whatever, right? It sounds a little bit fast actually. Now the funny thing with the Contax shutters is that you tighten the spring to get the lower speeds, while on the usual Leica type shutters, you tighten the springs to get the higher speeds. That was something that took me a couple of hours to figure out how it works. Okay, so you guys want to see what's inside? Oops. Open sesame. Wait, I don't have to open this thing. Okay, so I actually remove all the old felt here. You'll see some residual felt, which I'll replace later. Okay, so here's what's going on here. So this is the bevel gear for the second curtain, and this is the bevel gear for the first curtain, and this are the gears for the shutters. I'm going to show you something funny, okay? Well, it's not really funny because I'm not laughing. So check this out. See? I don't know what happened here, but the guy who previously worked on this put the shutter back improperly. So this thing is actually riding on top of this thing. which is not good because see how it flexed. Now this thing will probably rip open one of these days in the future. And to prevent that from, and to prevent this shutter from moving right again towards the left of the camera, I put a very small strip of magic tape. That sucks. Oops. I'm in time mode. So there you go. When by the way, when putting the delay controller or self-timer mechanism back, you want this thing to be pushing against this part of the I don't know what you call this thing. Wait, let me check. Oh, there's actually nothing. Okay, you want this to be, wait, okay, there's actually a small cam here. You want this to be pushing against the cam of the first curtain. So you want this to be as pushed all the way up as possible, because if you don't, then it's not gonna cock. Or not gonna cock, but it's yours self-timer won't work properly. So you'll also notice a notch over here. See? A notch on the roller of the first curtain, and this thing should actually go into this thing to prevent this from rolling. So this thing should only go here when you engage the self-timer. I don't have the self-timer lever with me, so I can't show that to you, okay? So there you go. When buying a Contax, always make sure that the shutter doesn't look crooked from behind, okay? It's okay, so there you go. It's gonna be 20 minutes soon, so I have to finish this. Oh, okay, oops, before I forgot. This is where you, what do you call this thing? Regulate the spring, okay? Now, I got this set up so I don't wanna mess this up again, but I'll just show it to you just in case, okay? So see the idiot who worked on this thing before? He was forcing this thing to go back because, see? There's some scars on the gear. You don't want that. Okay, so the proper way to do it is to loosen the screw on the spring and lift the lock up. Oops. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Okay. Wait, maybe it's not. It's very hard to do this while making a video. Ah, okay, see? See that slack? Now it's untensioned. So you want to tension it by rotating this screw counterclockwise. Oops, but before you do that, tighten the screw for the lock first, and then retension it, okay? you should, okay, as soon as the slack is gone, you want to test your shutter, and if you think it's too slow, or rather still writing too fast, because you're actually tighten this to get to the slower speeds, you just do it click by click, okay, and then test again, because one click is a very stores a lot of power in the spring. Okay, so you want to, the most important thing is you want to get 1/250th of a second as accurate as possible with the lowest tension. In short, you want to get to that with the least amount of clicks. Okay, I think that's it. So to remove the shutter frame, you'll have to remove these 2 screws and another 2 over here, and that's how you remesh the gears here. Now I'm not going to show you how to do that now, because that's going to take longer, but when putting the shutter right back, you want this peg to be right inside here. Okay, there's a slot for it there inside. Okay, see you. Bye bye. Your